My greeting to everyone here. And for me, it's a very special occasion for a variety of reasons. Shri Shastri Ji, Chairman of Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management, a person of sublime qualities. One gain that I will ever remember after being elected to Parliament in 1989 was that I happened to be his colleague, both in Parliament and in the Union Ministry. I still remember and recall the seat that was given to me. He was on my right side. All through I have known him and his wife Madhu, along with my wife Dr. Swadesh, as family well-wishers. In trying times and difficulties which the family faced, he was always there with great emotive strength. Dr. Bakul Dholakia ji, former Director of IIM Ahmedabad. I met him for the first time here, but I know of him. And I can tell you, everyone here and outside will give a stamp of approval to this recognition and also to this institute, backed by a jury that has credentials that are impeccable, unimpeachable, and of highest creditworthiness. Professor Parveen Gupta, the director, members of the jury comprising of distinguished jurist, former judge, Justice Patnaik and his team, diplomats, dignitaries present in the audience, distinguished members of the Shastri family and audience. Anil has been very kind with his introduction, and my wife has been kinder with her silence. Otherwise, there was enough for her to enter into a caveat and distinguish two judges here to decide, and that might have given me spinal pain. It is indeed an honor to be associated with any institute that carries the name of Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji. No one in this country of 1.3 billion people is ignorant about him, and that is across all generations. And this has been carried through the most powerful weapon, Kivdanti. They don't read about Shastri Ji. They know about Shastri Ji from their parents, from their teachers, from their grandparents. And therefore, one of the most illustrious sons of this country and a politician, statesman. I think there will be few parallels in history where his commitment to integrity, transparency, accountability was demonstrated by his actions in most difficult times. I am so glad and happy to note, particularly after knowing about the recipients, including the present one, that the Institute and the award upholds vision of Shastri Ji, his values and what he stood for. Society can be transformed only by emulating such a personality. Shastri Ji's slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, immortalized him. It resonates in our mind and hearts and ears, even now. It has relevance for all times to come. It inspires millions of countrymen, and there can be no greater unifying, impactful scenario in the country than this slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Shastri Ji was Prime Minister for a brief period, but his name is etched in history, and he does not require protagonists or people to propagate it. It is indestructible, and that is the strength of his moral values and character. In such a scenario, the day is memorable for me. That one great gain that I have in my capacity as Vice President is to be presenting an award in his name and to such a distinguished person, and by an institute of which Shri Anil Shastri happens to be chairperson. Padma Shri awardee Dr. Bakul Dholakia, his selection evokes instant appreciation by one and all. A versatile personality with significant contributions as an exalted educationist and economist. And I'm aware, having been a product of scholarship, what education means. But for the scholarship I got, I would not have had quality education. The stamp of Dr. Dholakia on the prestigious institute, IIM Ahmedabad, is being felt. And alumni have conveyed to me that there could not be a more deserving person than him for the occasion. The Corps of Management and Professionals of India, which has been created due to the untiring efforts of Dr. Dholakia and his likes, will be one of the significant contributors to India claiming its rightful place in the globe. We are on way to that destination. Jury members, I am grateful to you for two reasons in particular: presence here and having given their time selflessly for such a noble cause, because selection is a very difficult task. And our country that has rich human resource from every walk of life, I am sure there may be many considered by the jury, and I am sure they would appreciate this selection. Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management is accomplishing the objectives commendably, imparting value-based education and the pursuit for global standards of excellence. This institute, since inception, has been continually on incremental trajectory. Its chairman, Mr. Shastri, is known for his meticulous approach with strict adherence to propriety. I have been gainer of it, I have been sufferer of it as a minister. When I walked into his office, he was in the Ministry of Finance, and the office was in a block, and the size was 3 times my own office. I told Anil, I badly need indulgence. His response was, you are a distinguished lawyer, then also I was a senior advocate. Indulgence in accordance with law. And he kept to that. Shastriji's simplicity and steely resolve earned him a place, and these are not the words. He lived with them. His life always inspires us, motivates us to keep our Bharat first, before everything else, before self-interest. While the nation is relishing the historic growth of our economy, I am somewhat troubled by some who do not share our growth trajectory. Shastriji exemplified highest commitment and standards. The thought of availing an unjustified benefit never occurred to him. I'll give you one instance. Shastriji was in jail during one of his several journeys to that place, and for a cause he was fighting for the nation. During one such journey and confinement to jail, a report was given his daughter was not well. 15-day parole was given. Shastriji came out and to be with the daughter, to help her. Unfortunately, she couldn't survive. Anyone in his place would have availed the liberty of 15 days without a thought. Shastriji walked into the jail the moment the daughter was no more. can there be a greater example of practicing such kind of propriety and public morality? India had a difficult time when Shastriji was Prime Minister, and he led India during one of the most defining moments in its history. And that was the time he gave that clarion call I referred to a while ago. We are talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat. We are on way to it. Series of steps have been taken, and we are achieving it. The impact is being felt in the society. Shastriji stood for it. Shastriji visualized India must be strong economically and otherwise. When the country was not Atmanirbhar on grain, Shastriji gave that call. Fast once a day in a week. And what is more significant, he started with his own family. And what is more significant, no one wanted to check it. They knew it, that the first family of the country, Lal Bahadur Shastri family, has practiced it. And the entire country did it. I was a young child, a teenager, and I also followed. And I'm yet to come across a human soul of that time who did not so comply. Vision of Gandhiji and Shastriji to see Bharat being self-reliant and economically strong is being realized in present times as a consequence of series of governance affirmative steps, commendable contribution of the education is available for this great achievement. And this is primarily due to personalities like Dholakia ji, whom we have honored today. I can make myself very clear in a group like this that intellectually is far superior to the level at which I am. One wonders why a microscopic segment finds it difficult to release the growth story and trajectory of Bharat that evokes global recognition. We have enough to be proud and celebrate. Equally worrisome is the scenario when these voices, distanced from ground reality, have no rationale for not relishing the growth story of India, are taken in high decibel by media. I would appeal to the media that India is transforming itself at this time in a manner that its impact is being felt globally. Step out of the country as educationist, as industrialist, as diplomat, as a traveler, and you will find people look at us now very differently. This India of 2022 has all the indications that we will accomplish what Shastriji had thought of. Atmanirbhar, powerful, so that there could be peace and tranquility in the world. And why not? Our civilizational ethos have given us, and we believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Perhaps history does not have another illustration where a country as rich in civilization as Bharat never is stepping out of its boundaries for expansion. Voice of Bharat is being heard in global ecosystem with an impact that enthuses our young minds. And our young minds, on account of the high quality education imparted to them by people like Dr. Dholakia and others, have been in the lead of global giants. My friend Mr. Shastri knows more about it. The kind of infrastructural changes we are witnessing, they are comparable to global benchmarks. We are witnessing all around a kind of growth scenario which we could not have imagined. When myself and Mr. Shastri were in the Council of Ministers, our prized possession was, and Sunilji will also bear me out, 50 gas connections in a year. A member of parliament could give 50 gas connections to anyone he likes, and that was power. Imagine 180 million and more such gas connections were given free. I am sure the figures speak for themselves. The kind of banking inclusivity we have secured, the world can't believe. Initially started with the inclusion of 250 million people in the banking system, which is now more than 400 million. No one knows more than I do. When I started my career as a lawyer, I went to a bank to get a loan of 6,000 rupees so that I could buy a library. And the manager obliged me without surety being there. And look at the scenario now. One has to have only an idea. And that is why my friend Mr. Shastri Anilji will tell you how many unicorns we have, how many startups we have, what kind of impact is being felt. The entire economic ecosystem is reverberating with these developments. It is only last month that we overtook in economy strength those who ruled us for several decades, the United Kingdom, and we became the fifth. It is a matter of time, and towards the end of this decade, I have no doubt we will be third largest economy in the world. These attainments are as a result of bolstering the economic and managerial skills of the youth through a series of affirmative steps taken by the government recently. But the contribution of the academia can never be overemphasized. And that is why an institute comes to be recognized primarily not on account of its infrastructure, but on account of its faculty. And to such faculty, a person of eminence whom we have awarded today is an inspiration. But we must all work so that we get greater cutting edge and become more competitive in the global market to make India more felt in our actions. And this can be done by technological employment at the highest level. We have seen, when as Governor of the State of West Bengal, I went to my village and I found the 4G connection in the village was as good as in Kolkata. This I could never imagine because I went to a school in class 6, walking 6 kilometers from a village that neither had road nor electricity and had a school only up to primary level. The resurgent New India, where ample opportunities are available to the youth to exploit their talent to their fullest level. Human resource is the richest aspect that transforms a society. Rest follows. Our ecosystem at the moment facilitates that every individual is not under any constraints and is in a position with positivity to exploit his potential and talent. I would conclude by saying what is being carried on by this prestigious institution in such wholesome and sublime manner, others must emulate. Our society must recognize people who really matter and deserve. I am baffled and sometimes pained that we accord iconic status to personalities on parameters that have no rationale. We cannot substantiate them, and they occupy public space. And their actions are far from being wholesome. I am sure a jury like this should be dominating such elections so that the awards carry credibility. Padma Awards of late have been given to people whom most of us do not know. But the moment an award is given, everyone says it has been given to the right person. I have seen it in Bengal, I have seen it in my home state, and all over the country. And therefore, authentic recognition of talent and honor is quintessential to societal growth in a manner that was visualized by people like Shastri ji. Once again, I may pay my tributes to the great politician statesman, and I am sure everyone present here and associated with this institute will ever keep in mind it is named after Kohinoor of India. They will live up to his ideas and vision. Thank you so much.